Hello, classes. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing okay. And hope you're keeping safe during this time. All right, folks. So, in the best interest of time, to not waste your time nor mine, we'll go ahead and jump into today's video ASAP. Before we do that, let's recap, okay? Today we're going to be looking over Act 3, Scene 2, Part 2 of 4. Okay, we're going to be covering about 100 or so lines and covering quite a bit of ground. Before we can do that, I want to read this recap that I wrote down. I got my book of notes open. I got my text here in front of me to hopefully create a pretty solid balance of what we're looking at here. All right, recap. Let's read this. So, in Act 3, Scene 2, Part 1 of 4, which I went over in my last video, Oberon and Puck believe their plan is unfolding perfectly when really it is not. Demetrius and Hermia are arguing about the whereabouts of Lysander. Hermia thinks Demetrius has killed Lysander like a snake while he was sleeping. Demetrius swears he's done nothing but play tricks and games with Hermia. So he swears he's done nothing wrong, that Lysander is okay for all he knows. Rather, all he's doing is messing around and playing tricks with Hermia and her emotions. After all this, Hermia leaves angrily, leaving Demetrius behind, which brings us to now. So, with all that being slated and set out, let's go ahead and get started. So, looking into it, we leave off there. What we pick off with is this. Hermia has stormed off. Demetrius has decided not to chase after her because he feels there is no use in talking to her when she's this upset. So what does he decide to do instead? He goes to sleep. Obviously, because this is a Midsummer Night's Dream, folk. Dreams don't happen without sleep, right? This revisits the motif of sleeping, which we've gone over in the past. With this motif, right, which we hopefully all picked up on, it carries significance in the play because when people sleep, drastic things happen. It usually leads to results that maybe we anticipate or don't anticipate. That brings out the fun in it. So, that brings me to my first section I want to go ahead and read out to you, which is when Oberon, after seeing all this unfold and seeing Demetrius go to bed, talks to his loyal servant Robin Goodfellow / Puck and says, "What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite, and laid the love juice on some true love sight. Of thy misprision must perforce ensue some true love turned, and not a false turned true." Basically, Oberon is giving Puck the business. He's saying that he has made a mistake and basically turned a true love sour rather than turn Demetrius's false love true. In essence, folks, he is giving him the business because he's saying that this true love that Lysander did hold is now not where it should be. And then this love that seemed false on Demetrius's part has not been remedied. So let's go ahead and take that to the next thing. Let's keep it moving. We see here, once again, the fairies' influence on the humans. And now, I don't know how to spell. We see here, once again, the fairies' influence on humans and how they have a profound effect on the actions of the play. I've talked to you, class, earlier about how this mythical and magical element adds a different set of layers to this whole structure that we call the actions of the play, because there are no bounds with people like this. They have way more control than what humans would typically have in a play. Therefore, we're seeing this in action, and we're seeing it in its expansion and its rise and all those good things in between. All right, let's keep it going. So, this brings us to the next thing. Puck, what does he decide to do? He pleads his case by making the point that maybe this mistake was actually in fact an act of fate, because being faithful is a rarity in love when it comes to men. I don't know about y'all, but after going over that, reading it, kind of making sense of it, it seems like a bit of a social critique on Shakespeare's part, right? Wouldn't you say? Whatever the case, let's keep it on, all right? We're not here to talk about that stuff. We're here to break down text and go through it and hopefully get something out of it. But let's keep that in mind, shall we? All right, Oberon does not buy it. He is not buying Puck's case, and he wants Puck to do the right thing by his mistake. So he orders him to make sure he finds Helena and brings her over so that when she arrives, Oberon can rub love potion on Demetrius's eyes to make him fall in love with her instead, because that's the way these things should be going, right? These are the way these things should hopefully work. Whatever the case, that is what he wants, so that is what he's going to get. So he does exactly that, and even speaks out loud as he is rubbing the love potion on Demetrius's eyes and says, "Flower of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery," right? We're seeing this one more time. This is something that we know. This is something that we figured out. "Sink in apple of his eye. When his love he doth espy. Let her shine as gloriously as the Venus of the sky. When thou wakest, if she be by, beg of her for remedy. Okay? Why does Oberon do this? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe he sympathizes with the plight of the lost lover. Maybe he's trying to play games as well and trying to play tricks with these mortals of some sort. I really don't know. All right, but I'll leave you to think about that. Why is Oberon going so much out of his way to make these things not only happen, but to try to make them right? This is a question that I'm asking of you to think about on your own. All right, moving on. All right, keeping it moving. Whatever the case, Puck's motives are never in question. We never look at Puck and ask ourselves, why is he doing this, right? He plays tricks and games, understandably so, because as we've learned in the past, he is the Shakespearean fool, a witty and knavish character who gets, satisfaction out of doing these things towards the characters in the play. All right, we know that, we've established that, so let's hold on to that. After Oberon's monologue, in which he rubs the love potion onto Demetrius's eyes, Puck comes in and utters to Oberon. He tells him, "Captain of our fairy band, Helena is here at hand, and the youth mistook by me, pleading for a lover's fee. Shall we their fond pageancy? Lord, what fools these mortals be." All right. I want to pay special attention to that last line that Puck utters. Lord, what fools these mortals be. All right, to give a little bit of precedence before he says this, he's basically coming to Oberon and reporting that Helena and Lysander, who he messed up and put the love potion on originally, are on their way. And should we check out what's going to happen now that Demetrius has love potion and is going to fall in love with Helena? Lord, what fools these mortals be. Right? We have Puck, who is making this huge critique on the way that these mortals, humans, live out their lives, especially in the realm of emotions and love. Because, right, as I've already said previously in this video, the mythical and magical element serves as that kind of foundation to help have this critique. Because sometimes these things like love and emotion and sentiments and feelings aren't exactly, pitted with logic. Aren't exactly hand in hand with logic. Therefore, to somebody like a magical spirit who has so much control in this arena, right, they have kind of that directive to say those things. It's kind of like a critique again, guys, on society and how sometimes these actions that are driven by emotions can oftentimes be interpreted as kind of just silly or foolish or even something of that, right? Because as Puck says, the guy who's literally labeled a Shakespearean fool, Lord, what fools these mortals be, saying that the humans, right, don't know what's happening. The humans don't know what they're doing. The humans are lost because they aren't thinking clearly, right? Basically giving them the business. Whatever the case may be, let's keep it moving. All right. So now what happens is Oberon says, stand aside. The noise they make will cause Demetrius to awake, right? These guys will make a ruckus, therefore Demetrius will wake up. This excites Robin because he says, then will two at once woo one, and that must needs be sport alone, and those things do best please me that befall preposterously. He said, oh, this should be a ton of fun. Now there's going to be two guys that love one woman, and that should be hilarious to see that unfold. Well, I guess we're going to see that in just a moment, aren't we? Moving on. All right, so enter Lysander and Helena. They have now entered the scene. Lysander is still vowing he loves Helena so much that he even cries for her and over her. This, therefore, is a true sign of the love he has, because unless you care about something, all right, you cry over it, right? If you cry, that is a promise. That is you telling through emotion and action that this is something you deeply care about, or at least that's what he's trying to say. All right, next thing. Helena isn't buying into it. She is not having it, folks. She feels she is still being mocked. She brings up Hermia and says if his vows aren't true to Hermia, then they're definitely not true to Helena, making them both false. In essence, Lysander is just one big fat liar. Lysander pleads he doesn't know what he was thinking when he told Hermia he loved her. What a jerk. Helena says she feels he isn't thinking now as he breaks those promises and so forth. It's a back and forth, right? I didn't know what I was thinking. Helena's saying you're not thinking now, right? All that. At this point, they have made enough noise. Demetrius has woken up. He sees Helena love potion in his eyes and all, and falls in love instantly, complimenting her to the 10th degree, telling her all the things that make her beautiful and the most astounding person in the entire world. It's pretty intense. Helena, right, after all this, right, let's remember, Helena is the person who had been seeking Demetrius to the 10th degree and wanting him as much as any person could ever want a person. You would think that with this proclamation, maybe that brings some kind of satisfaction to Helena, given her situation. However, even after always wanting Demetrius, she does not respond well to this, his proclamation of love to her. Rather, she gets upset because she feels that Lysander and Demetrius are in cahoots to mock her, as noted when she says, and I'll read it to you right here, folks, I got to highlight it. "O spite, O hell, I see you are all bent to set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me, as I know you do, but you must join in souls to mock me too? If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so to vow and swear and superpraise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena. A trim exploit, a manly enterprise to conjure tears up in a poor maid's eyes with your derision. None of the noble sort would so offend a virgin and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make your sport." AKA, who do you think you are? You're now working together after being rivals to go after the same woman. You think it's funny to make fun of me now that you guys decided that the both of you would do it? How dare you? How dare you? Lysander, he's eventually speaking to Demetrius because this doesn't sit right with him. And says, "You are unkind, Demetrius, be not so, for you love Hermia." Right? "This you know I know. And here, with all goodwill, with all my heart, in Hermia's love, I yield you up my part, and yours of Helena to me bequeath, whom I do love, and will do till my death." Basically saying, Demetrius, stop playing games. I'm telling you right here and right now, Hermia, she's all yours. I give up any and all claim that I have to her love. She belongs to you now, because from this point forward, I love Helena, and I will do everything to love Helena. Well, let's go ahead and see what Helena says to this. "Never did mockers waste more idle breath." She's obviously still not having it, but Demetrius decides he wants to talk to Lysander one-on-one and says, "Lysander, keep thy Hermia. I will none. If ever I loved her, all that love is gone. My heart to her, but as a guest wise sojourned, and now to Helen is it home returned, there to remain." Basically echoing the same sentiment, saying, you keep Hermia. I don't want her in the end anyway, because at the end of the day, it was Helen and it will always be Helen. And, well, he's calling her Helen here, but we're talking about Helena, saying that Helena is the person I want to be with, and it is where I'm going to stay, is with her and her heart, right? Lysander says, "Helen, it is not so." Demetrius, "Disparage not the faith thou dost know, lest to thy peril thou abide dear. Look where thy love comes, yonder is thy dear. Enter Hermia." Hermia has now made her way into the scene after this back and forth of Demetrius, Lysander, and Helena, with both our spectators watching this unfold in the form of Oberon and Puck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, folks, please make sure to tune into tomorrow's video, where I go ahead and go in a little bit more depth of Hermia's entrance into the scene and what this spells out for the rest of Act 3, Scene 2. All right, we will go in tomorrow to Act 3, Scene 2, Part 3 of 4. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that I'm talking so fast and so rapidly. I want to make these videos quick, easy, and nice to digest, and still be able to get tons of information and unpack that information in such a little bit amount of time. As always, folks, feel free to email me anytime. Feel free to get in touch with me at any time. I am always here to help you whenever I can. Otherwise, I hope you keep watching these videos. Keep on top of your assignments. All right, keep yourself safe. All right, keep everything good. I'm running out of stuff to say. All right, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. All right, because I'm almost at the 15-minute mark. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, take care, be well, and keep on keeping on. See you later.